you're at, but more than likely it's probably noontime if you're on the East Coast. Actually 2 o'clock if you're on the East Coast. I guess it could be in the morning if you're all the way on the Pacific side. So good morning, good afternoon. Hope you're all doing well. We'll go ahead and get started. So today we're going to be talking about waste elimination. You're bleeding and you don't even know it. So we're going to just go over a multitude of different ways that Jeff and I have both seen different types of waste within inside companies. And we're going to discuss that with you today and hopefully help you cut back on some of that or eliminate some of that as we go through the presentation today. A quick intro of myself. My name is Adam Linnemann. I'm the founder and CEO of Linnemann Lawn Care and Landscaping. And actually this year is our 30th year of being in business. So it's been a wild 3 decades, but it's been fun. I don't regret any year of it, but it's been great running a lawn care and landscaping business. In 2017, I'm the founder and partner with my wife, Sarah, and Jeff here of the Green Executive, which is a landscape industry consulting firm where we specialize in profit first implementation, which is a cash flow management system. And we help make businesses make profit a habit in their businesses, not just an event. The Green Executive is also a certified QuickBooks Pro Advisor firm, and we offer green industry bookkeeping services. Sarah and I are both Linnemann software certified consultants, and a little fun tip about me, I guess, is that I'm an egghead, and if you don't know what that is I'm a certified barbecue judge with the St. Louis Barbecue Society, and I have a big green egg at home that I love to grill and cook on. So that's a little bit about me.
I'm Jeff Heller. I'm the founder, chief executive officer of Innovative Maintenance Solutions. We've been in business since 2012. We're based out of Indianapolis, Indiana. Offer all sorts of commercial maintenance services, specialize in the snow arena, which is how I was connected with Adam and started working with him and Sarah at the Green Executive. I help them with the Profit First program, and then I also do snow consulting for them for our customer base as well. Since 2017, I've held my certified snow professional designation through the Snow and Ice Management Association. I am also a member of SIMA, have been since 2005, and I also sit on their board of directors. I am a snow lover, but I'm still waiting for my invitation to come eat some food off of Adam's big green egg.
Thanks, Jeff. Here's a picture of my company back several years ago. We've grown more than that, and now actually today we've downsized a little bit. Back a couple years ago, we had all of this. In addition to this, we had 4 additional mowing crews, and we decided to get out of mowing slowly over a couple years. And back in 2022 was our last year maintaining and actually doing lawn maintenance. Now we specialize in landscape design and build, lighting, lawn care treatments, fertilization, weed control, and different services like that, as well as some snow removal. So the company has grown much more than this, but then over looking at our business's needs and our wants as a family ran business, and looked at ways to how can we become more profitable and have less stress. Over the last couple of years, we decided to downsize a little bit more. So, but I'm the real deal. Jeff's the real deal. We both run and operate lawn care and landscaping businesses and have done so for quite some time. So let's just dig right in to the cost of waste. This is a great slide, and I love showing it because this really puts numbers to dollar amounts of where you could be wasting time and what this is really costing you as a company. This slide here is just an example of where we have seen waste at through our coaching and consulting businesses with helping other landscape contractors be more profitable. And so we kind of came up with this as like a chart to kind of just share with you a little bit more about some areas of waste. So as you can see here, there's a multitude of different ways that you could have waste, but just to name a few would be like loading and unloading uncovered trailers. When you start calculating the time of, maybe it's 15 minutes with a couple guys per day, it really adds up to several hours a week. And when you look at your season, you could be having maybe a 36 week season. Maybe you're down in Florida and maybe you don't have downtime. Maybe you're a 50 or a 52 week a year season. But it really adds up when you start looking at your billable rates. And it's not just billable rates. This is one thing that I want you all to be taking into consideration is it's your lost opportunity as well. So you could be paying someone $20, $30 per hour to work for you, but they're actually producing you so much more on top of that. And when you start looking at your billable hours and what your average revenue per man hour is by the time you end up having your labor, your equipment, and your materials inside there, it really adds up. And then you start having a lot of lost opportunity as well. There's a few other scenarios in here, as you can see, for getting tools and materials. Moving on down, fueling up at gas stations is huge. Extra long breaks, if you're dedicating 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes in the afternoon, and maybe a 30-minute lunch break, if they start becoming 5 minutes longer, it really adds up. We all know smoking, texting, phone calls, social media can really add up as well. Then one of the last ones I wanted to talk about is warranty, mistakes, and rework. Do you account for that inside your budget and your estimates? Linnemann software is a software that we use at our company, Linnemann Lawn Care and Landscaping. It's one of the top softwares that I recommend. There's a multitude of softwares out there that you all may be using. I know Synced Up is a great software, and some of these others, such as Jobber, Service Autopilot, and so on, are all good softwares as well, Aspire. But we just know Linnemann very well, and Linnemann has been a game changer for us. And one of the things that Linnemann allowed us to look at was warranty work and callbacks. And we're actually able to track that and then account for that year after year into our basically our overhead as we continue to go from business year to business year. But, if you have a lot of warranty work because your guys aren't doing a good job, or maybe they are doing a good job, but you're just having a lot of mistakes and things like that, it adds up. And then that ultimately ends up proving to you that if you have multiple weeks that you're doing this and your billable hourly rate, the opportunity and everything can really add up to several thousands of dollars a year. This is the stuff that we want to really work on in our businesses and try to reduce as much as we possibly can. So one of the things I wanted to discuss today is, and please unmute yourself in this slide here, because I want to hear some of your thoughts on this. But what are we really selling? What is our inventory? What are we selling in our businesses? Anybody know?
I would say we're selling time.
Bingo. Jeff, you got that right. Did you know this? You knew this already.
I did. I just wanted to get the ball rolling.
We are. So this is another key point. What I want you all to be really thinking about. So we are a lawn care and landscaping business, and ultimately, what our inventory that we are selling to our customers is our time. And I'm going to relate this to you just like a Best Buy store. Okay. So a Best Buy store, what do they sell? Well, they sell DVDs, they may sell computers, they may sell appliances, things like that. And how are they tracking their inventory? Well, they're tracking it by having SKUs on the shelf. They are protecting their inventory by a camera system, a security system. They may have a gentleman in a yellow shirt at the door checking receipts as they go in and out. That's because Best Buy is selling those types of items, the DVDs, the computers, the appliances. That's their inventory. Well, a landscaping business's inventory, what we're selling is our time. And we have to be very protective of our time, and we have to account for every single minute of it, really, as much as we possibly can. So that's why it's so important when we go back and show you this slide here and how the minutes add up to the dollars and how it really adds up and can end up making a business not very profitable at all. And there's a lot of waste. So once again, we are selling our time and we need to be charging for our time as much as we possibly can. Another question I want to ask you all is, when you are preparing your landscaping estimates or your proposals, are you including in the estimate the drive time and the load time to the jobs and from the jobs? If not, you should be. It's so crucial to be charging for your drive time from job to job to job, because you're still paying your team members for that time. So that is one area where we see as landscaping coaches of contractors are not charging for drive time. Now, the customer, they don't need to see that, but it should be part of your overhead or built into your estimate directly to where the customer doesn't see it, but it should be accounted for. So I always say that if a landscape or if a customer lives down in Florida and they want to know if I can come down and do a landscaping job for them, well, technically I could, because I know it takes exactly 14 hours from Columbia, Illinois to drive down to Florida, because I've driven that before, and it takes me 14 hours to drive back. If the customer's willing to pay for that 14 hours and pay for our time on site, I can still go down and do that job profitably. Now, that's not a realistic scenario typically, but when we're talking 15 minutes down the road or a half hour down the road, it adds up and you should be charging for that.
So now, Adam, LMN takes that into consideration as we're building out our budget with billable time and productivity ratio, correct?
Correct. So you would either want to account for that somehow into your overhead, and then or account for it as a direct cost in your estimates. And that's what we do, is we put it as a direct cost into our estimates. It's the same it's the same time as the man hours on site, but it's the man hours to drive there. So if it's 15 minutes down the road and I always do a crew of 2, I know it's 30 minutes or a half an hour down and a half hour back. And that's into the estimate, and the customer doesn't see that.
Okay, so now you have in your labor tab, when you're building your estimate, you have one that's drive time, and you
Correct.
calculate that for however many days you're going to be there.
Yep, it's titled logistics / drive time loading unloading.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Sure. Here's a scenario, and this is actually a scenario that happened to me, and I'm not proud of it, but it is what it is today. I don't know exactly what year it was, but let's just say 12 years ago. I live here. Can you guys see my mouse moving? Or no?
Yeah,
Yes.
we can see it.
Okay. So I live here. Apparently the fire department's having a fire call. So if you hear sirens in the background, I'm fine. They're going down the road. But I live here in Columbia, Illinois, which is the town in the north or on the top. That is a town of about 15,000 people in my county. The other town all the way down south is Waterloo, Illinois. That town is about 15,000 people also, and that is about the other half of the majority of my clients at Linnemann Lawn Care and Landscaping. So in general, half of my clients are in Columbia, half of my clients are down here in Waterloo, Illinois. Okay. Back 12 years ago, I had the opportunity to buy land and to build my shop where this arrow is right here, right in the middle. Okay. I decided I'm going to go down here, which is just 6 minutes down the road, 3.8 miles, and buy the land for $50,000 cheaper. Now I'm kicking myself in the butt, because when I start looking at this and adding this up, it's astronomical the amount of time that I'm paying payroll with a crew of people and wear and tear and fuel that I could have paid for that additional premium spot right here in just like a couple years. and then been ahead. But now I'm still driving back and forth between New Hanover and this area here. So I did the math on this, and I don't want to bore you, but 6 minutes one way is 12 minutes round trip. 12 minutes round trip with a per man is 24 minutes with a crew of two. And then that adds up to 120 minutes or 2 hours per week. 2 hours per week at $35 an hour that I'm paying a guy is $70 in payroll. And you may be thinking, well, $35, you pay a guy $35 an hour. No, but I do pay our top people $28 an hour. And they do have benefits and different things that we have to match as a company. So they really are costing me $35, $40 an hour. But I wanted to share with you that that starts adding up. As we continue on over 36 weeks, there's $2,500 in payroll just to allow them to drive back and forth per crew. If you have 5 crews, look what that adds up to. And then I just wanted to share that it's not only the payroll, but it's the wear and tear in the trucks and so on. So don't make this mistake. If you're ever looking at purchasing a piece of property, buy the prime location, because this extra time that I'm wasting every day is costing me. And I could have bought here a long time ago and been in a much better and healthier and profitable state than what I am today. Okay. So just some food for thought, how that all adds up. The last thing I wanted to mention is it's not just the payroll, it's the lost opportunity. It's the, I'm paying $35 an hour, but I could be charging my customer $80 or $100 an hour, which is what the range is that we have on our estimates, what we're charging to our customers. Everyone's is different, but it's the lost opportunity cost of that. And if you have 5 crews, well, that adds up to almost $30,000 of lost billable income. Any questions so far? So what can we do to eliminate this? Well, I ask you, are your routes optimized? Crew sizes. What are your crew sizes? What do they look like? Are they crews of 1? Are they crews of 5? I found crews of 2 being the most efficient. I can tell you from working with dozens and dozens of landscape contractors that have crews of 3, that have crews of 5, that have bigger crews than that even, we always end up asking them, okay, you have a crew of 5, right? Yeah, we do a lot of HOA maintenance, and there's a couple trucks there, there's 5 guys there, they're getting the job knocked out. So you have 5 guys on site? Yeah. Well, what happens if one guy calls in sick? Well, what do you mean? Well, what happens if one guy calls in sick? Well, then just 4 guys go. Well, do they still get the job done in a day? And usually the client says yes. Well, why do you have the 5th guy then? That's my point, is I think a lot of the thoughts in our heads, and it's a mindset shift, is send more guys to get the job done faster, but that's not necessarily the most profitable way and the most efficient way to technically do a job. Fertilization is my favorite service to offer because it's one guy on a Z spray or a steel green or some sort of a sprayer spreader, and they're by themselves. They have a fertilizer or a product that they're marking up, putting profit on top of, and they're getting the job done by themselves. That's the most efficient, technically a one-man crew. Now, I know we can't necessarily send a one-man crew to go out and do a lot of bigger lawn mowing jobs or cemetery type jobs or HOAs, but a crew of 2, that would be my ideal crew size. If the job really is that big, maybe you send 2 trucks with 2 crews of 2 over there to knock a job out in the morning, then they split up from there to do smaller jobs. But crew sizes is crucial. How about getting product delivered to the job site? We would go down to our local sod supplier, which wasn't far, 20 minutes away, and go pick up our sod for some of our landscaping installation jobs. And what we found out was we're like 4th in line to pick up the sod, and there's 2 guys in a truck, and they're sitting down there for maybe a total of an hour and a half. By the time they get down there, they get loaded and they get to the job site. When I can have the sod delivered for 75 or 100. Get your materials delivered as much as you reasonably can, because the time wasted to go pick up materials oftentimes just doesn't make sense. Enclosed trailers, that should be kind of a no-brainer. Reducing that daily load unload time from utility trailers. And how about utilizing technology for time savings? Jeff, you want to mention a few things on technology?
Yeah, we were having the discussion around snow removal and using private meteorological services, and those can be pricey. I pay about $2,500 for the snow season for my service. They provide us, in addition to the weather forecast, they provide us pavement temperatures. They provide us when the first inch of accumulation will occur, when the second inch of accumulation will occur, because those are the two most popular triggers, at least in the commercial world. I know in the HOA it could be 3 or 4 inches, but I've been asked why I spend that money. And, as opposed to just using the Weather Channel app or the NOAA website or just watching the TV. And I can tell you that money spent has been realized in savings many times over, just because I'm able to time when I can have my crews on site. There have been many times where crews have been sent out when they thought accumulation would occur, and it did not occur for 2 or 3 hours. And these crews have been sitting on site, and the owner of the company is paying. The example I have of one local company here cost the owner $6,000 in payroll before he could even start billing a client for services, because he was not using current technology and utilizing a meteorological service. And I'm not sure what he was using, but he had his crews out there hours ahead of the event when it was supposed to start accumulating, and it did not. And had he been using a private service that was specific to the zip codes that he was working in, he would have realized $6,000 in savings right there. So utilizing the technology that's available out there is fantastic. I know, I had the opportunity to look at our slides ahead of time, and I know Adam's going to talk about a company called Frost Solutions. So I'll have a little bit more to say about that when we get there.
Thanks, Jeff. It's one of my favorite slides. Busy work is not profitable work. Busy work is not profitable work, typically. I always get asked often if I see someone in my community, maybe if I'm at the grocery store, are you staying busy? Well, I try to stay profitable, not necessarily busy. So I like to share this slide. All right, how about equipment? Jeff, I'll let you just go right back to that as well, if you don't mind.
Nope, that's fine. Basically, this comes down to you have the right equipment for the jobs that you are doing. Proper size mowing equipment. Are you out mowing a multiple acre site with push mowers? Or do you got a 60-inch ZTR or something even larger that would be more appropriate? Are you using dingoes, mini skids, as opposed to just hand labor? Here we are with the on-site cameras. I can tell you, I know of a snow removal company that does, probably at least 100 different sites up in the northeast part of the United States. The owner of the company is in Tampa, Florida, and he was paying zone managers quite a bit of money to manage those snow accounts up in the Northeast until a company based out of Chicago, Frost Solutions, developed an on-site camera that could be mounted on-site, provide pavement temperatures, provide a forecast, provide snow accumulations, and it can be controlled through the internet by the person that's on site plowing the lot. There's a camera there that allows this gentleman in Tampa to watch all of his sites as they're being plowed and getting real-time information such as temperature, ground temperature, so he can make accurate decisions for those sites. And he was able to eliminate all of those zone managers. He literally sits in Tampa and watches these cameras when there's snow events in the Northeast. We can talk about snow plow versus containment plows. Are you using the right plows on your property? We have a couple of million square foot sites. We do have a couple trucks with snow plows on there, but we also have backhoes and loaders on those properties that have 14, 12-foot containment plows that are clearing 2.5 times what the truck can clear. We basically use the truck for crumb cleanup and keeping curb lines clear, and we're using the loaders that are clearing about 60,000 square feet an hour out pushing the snow. These are both logistics sites where our customers have to have trucks running unimpeded 24/7, 365. So I don't think we would have had a shot at getting any of that business if I said, well, we'll have 7 trucks there with 8-foot V blades plowing your parking lot. We had to bring in the big guns, and we can usually get their lots cleared fast and efficiently and keep their product moving in and out of their warehouses.
All good points. Okay. So I want to open it up to anybody that wants to chime in. Is there any other valuable equipment that you have that you'd like to share that you believe is a huge labor saver that we're not familiar with? Maybe, I mean, obviously we know we don't want to put a 36-inch walk behind mower on a 2-acre property when we could put a 60-inch zero-turn rider. But does anybody want to chime in, either unmute themselves and just mention it or whatever, but have any type of valuable equipment they want to add? Okay. We'll move on. So we're going to talk about value engineering your jobs. And this was part of a presentation that I did several years ago with Linnemann software. And this really opens up a lot of contractors' eyes on the value of having good equipment and utilizing it for your jobs. So in this scenario here, we're going to talk hand labor. So let's just say you bid a job for 60 man hours at 2 days. So you're going to have 2 days of trucks and tools that you're going to charge for in your estimate, and you're going to have 60 man hours, and you're going to do this job by hand, and the estimate price to the customer is $2,950. Okay. Well, now let's just say that you decided to do this same job again for another customer, but you purchased a dingo now. And now, because you purchased the dingo, you can get the job actually done quicker. So now you're doing it in 45 hours. And you're only on site for a day and a half. And you're still charging for your truck and tools, but now you're also charging for the dingo. So the price actually goes down to the customer. But what I want to stress to you is that the profit percentage is still staying the same. Where the benefit is of utilizing equipment, no equipment, dingo, better equipment, and having an excavator or something similar to that as the best equipment, is you're charging for this equipment, as you can see in these different line items here, but you're actually giving a cheaper price to the customer, but you're still making the same profit margin on these jobs. And what you're able to now do is now you're able to start getting these jobs and doing them more often because you're saving so much more in time. So let's discuss that as we go through some of these slides here. So now we can charge less without sacrificing profits, right? By using big equipment allows you to charge less without sacrificing profits. Our increased sales or revenue per man hour has now went from by hand $49.60 to utilizing the equipment because you're charging for it now to $61. And the whole goal out of working on and getting your estimates to your customers, and where we see as coaches, companies that do landscaping work, all work in general, but companies that do landscaping work really make good profits is whenever they have a very high revenue per man hour. So it's not just their labor, it's their equipment that they're putting into their estimates that the customer doesn't see. It's their materials that they're selling. It's the increased revenue per man hour is where really profitable companies are doing very well at, because they are having a man hour rate of $150, $200 per man hour billable rate whenever they calculate in their labor, their equipment, and their materials. It's the exact reason why if I have the opportunity to go put a decorative bush on the corner of a house, I'm not going to put in a $60 star magnolia. I'm going to recommend to the customer a $300 Japanese maple. I will make more profit off that $300 Japanese maple than I will a $60 star magnolia. Now, I'm not saying you want to deceive the customer by that, but you want to give them a good solution and something that's going to look good, but you're going to make more money off of the more expensive product. And the same thing goes for if you have an opportunity to put in a paver that is maybe a local made paver stone versus a Teco block paver or a Unilock paver. Those pavers are typically a more higher end paver. The landscape companies that are putting in those higher end materials are making more profit. We go back to the scenario here of by hand, small equipment, which is the dingo, and the big equipment. And faster job velocity is we have more opportunity for more new sales. So I just want to kind of make sure that you understand that the profit margin is staying the same, but you are actually able to get more jobs done quicker, and you're going to have happier employees because they're using equipment. They're not doing everything by hand. You're going to have a happier customers because you're getting in and out of their job site quicker. You're not there for a whole week. You're there for 2 or 3 days because you have the equipment. And this is what allows you to make more profit, is whenever you can rely on good quality equipment, and you can get more jobs done and have more opportunity. Also, lower overhead or fixed equipment costs. So if you already have the equipment on site, but you're only using it or at your shop and you're only using it 3 days a week, well, if you can start using it 5 days a week, it's not really costing you anymore because you're making that payment already anyways. So utilize the equipment, and that will keep your overhead lower, and it will allow you to charge more and make more profits back to your back from your customers. Let's talk overhead equipment. We all think about equipment out in the field, the dingos, the trucks, and so on. Let's talk about overhead equipment. Dual monitors. Anybody know where I'm going with dual monitors? If you do, feel free to unmute yourself, but I'll tell you an interesting stat. Anyone? Lincoln, are you with us? Luke, are you with us?
I am. They are way faster.
They are way faster. Luke,
They're more productive.
Is this Luke Trukin or Luke who?
Luke Scott.
Luke Scott. Hey, Luke.
Hey,
yeah, so dual monitors, a study has found that if you have 2 monitors hooked up to your computer inside of an office at your home, you're 44% more efficient. 44% more efficient, because you're able to have 2 monitors running at the same time and have multiple tabs open and see multiple screens. You're 44% more efficient by having an extra $100 or $200 monitor. So you have 2 of them hooked up at your house or your office or wherever. Just an idea on that, okay? The other one is the ice machine labor savings. That's going to be overhead equipment. That's something that I don't bill directly to the customer. It's something that is the cost of doing business that I choose to have at my landscaping company, Linnemann Lawn Care and Landscaping. But if you're allowing your crews to stop off at gas stations to get bags of ice, you're wasting money and you're losing money, and it's just not a thing that you should be doing. I work with a company. This is a true scenario. I work with a company down in Florida. He had 3 crews. He allowed his crews to stop by every morning and get bags of ice. When we calculated the driving distance from his office or his shop to the gas station to get ice and what he was paying for the ice, we quickly realized that he could buy a $4,000 ice machine and pay for it in just 6 months for the labor savings. That's overhead equipment that you have at your shop that if you're allowing your crews to get bags of ice and drive to get bags of ice, that's the key, is the time that you're paying them and the wear and tear. You're foolish. Have the ice delivered to you, whether it be an ice chest or get yourself an ice machine. We lease ours for $100 a month is what we do. Materials. Jeff, you want to take over materials?
Yeah. Simple question that's often overlooked. Are you buying in bulk? Are you getting discounts when you do buy in bulk? This could be your ice melt, your pallets of ice melt, your salt, your fertilizer, your herbicides, sprays, whatever. Are you buying in bulk? And do you have, do you have terms with your providers? 30 days, 15 days, whatever it may be. Liquids versus granules. I always like to talk about this in terms of the snow removal industry. Bulk salt or liquids. More and more people are going to liquids programs. I would hazard to guess in the next 10 years or so, we're all going to be forced to use liquids just because they are better for the environment. The liquid brine, we use it. Adam's gotten here. Do you make your own? We do not. We made the decision not to invest in the equipment just because our snow seasons here in Indianapolis have become very unpredictable over the last handful of years. We purchase ours. We keep them in tanks. We have spent the money to retrofit trucks and to put the sprayers on them for the liquid brine. We also have on those trucks, we also have hoses so we could spray the liquid brine on sidewalks. But the liquid brine that you can get with the salt water mixture, beet juice mixture, you're spending pennies on the dollar, and you can still charge the same rate as you do per application for salt. So anybody out there that is in the snow removal industry, I would highly consider researching a liquids program and implementing it. And the easiest way to do it is to start with your sidewalks, where the only equipment you really need to invest in is, and that you probably already have, is a backpack sprayer. Do you have a plan B in event of shortages? Happens all the time in the snow industry with salt. You run out of salt, or you're running low on salt, and your supplier for some reason has had to commit a bigger than average part of their inventory to municipalities. Because in the snow removal industry, your salt providers, their first and best customers are the municipalities, and that's who they're going to provide to first. But this can also apply in the landscaping industry. Do you have a plan B in the event that You have mowers go down and you can't get parts. You have a Z sprayer go down and you can't get parts. You can't get your herbicides or your fertilizer. Do you have some other way to get that? Do you have a backup supplier? Do you have a buddy in the industry that's close by to you that can help you out? All things you need to think of ahead of time before they actually occur and leave you in a pickle. And I can tell you from firsthand experience that I have had more than my fair share of stress over failing to have a plan B.
Jeff, if I could add just a few thoughts on the materials is I haven't found a cheaper place to buy the green is it ADS, or I forgot what brand they are, but the green pop-up emitters that you put in, that you put on the end of 4-inch downspouts, you know, to the piping there. I haven't been able to find them any cheaper, any local provider than like Amazon, and Amazon delivers right to me. So we buy our green pop-up emitters that are the 90-degree PVC with the green pop-up spring on them, you know, than Amazon. So we buy them by a dozen by a time, get multiple cases in a year, because we do a lot of drainage work. So don't underestimate services like that. I do like to support small mom and pop businesses, but if I'm saving $3 or $4 a piece and they deliver to me for free, I usually end up making the choice to go with a provider like that, because it does save us hundreds of dollars a year. And we give the smaller companies a fair shake at it too, and just tell them, hey, you know, can you help us out any better, and give them the opportunity. But just some food for thought on that. And then last but not least is I want to go back to your liquids versus granular. So you were talking a lot on liquid salts versus like granular salts. You know, the same thing goes for fertilizers. We do a 7-step lawn care fertilization and weed control program. Every application we would go out in the past, back 3 or 4 years ago, and we would do a granular application of fertilizer. We would spray for weeds while we're there, and that would be our application. We would do 7 of those a year. Now we're still doing 7 applications a year, but we're only putting down granular 4 times. And what we decided to do was to invest and to pay more in the premium fertilizers that have the extended slow release, the poly-coated fertilizers, to where they're going to last 60, even 90 days long, depending on what you need. And we're happy to pay more, 50 cents, $1, $2 a bag more for that extended slow release fertilizer if we don't have to put granular down next time we're there. All we have to do is spot check the property, spray for weeds. We're still charging the same price, because our pricing in lawn care and landscaping is the same price every application. Our most profitable application based off of materials is actually our 7th application, which is our winterizer application. And one of our more expensive applications is our crabgrass preventer and or our grub control. But we chose to buy the more expensive product, so we would have less granulars to have to deal with throughout other applications. And that has been a game changer in improving profitability in our company there as well. So I just wanted to point out liquids versus granulars can be both in snow and fertilization and weed control.
Absolutely.
Hidden cost, credit card processing fees. These are just some things that, you know, we all have to pay for as a business. And are you somewhere recouping the cost of these, right? Credit card processing fees. Our customers pay for every credit card processing fee. How do we do it? What we do is we look at what we spend in credit card processing fees in a year, average, and we put that cost into our overhead. So in a sense, every single customer that does business with us pays for it. I know a lot of landscape contractors will just simply add 3%, 4% to the invoice if the customer is going to pay by credit card processing fee. The point that I want to make is make sure you understand that this is a cost of doing business and that you're recovering that cost somewhere. Benefits to employees. You know, what is the true cost of having that employee around? Well, you have matching Social Security taxes and things like that you have to pay. You might have benefits such as a simple IRA. You might have some additional benefits at like vacation time, sick time that they can earn. That's all cost of doing business that you are paying for. Make sure you know what that cost is and that you are in a sense, recovering that cost somewhere as you continue your business going forward. Design costs to sell a job. Are you charging for it? Are you charging for your design time? I know a lot of landscape contractors that are doing, you know, 10, 20, $100,000 landscaping jobs, and they're doing landscaping designs for free. Don't do that. Either add that cost that you're paying a designer into your overhead to where everybody pays for it, or charge the customer directly who's going to utilize the design fee, but make sure you're charging for it. I asked the question, you know, what are some other hidden costs? Someone said debris disposal. Absolutely. If you're not charging on your estimates, when you know that you have to haul stuff back or get rid of it at a waste yard and putting that on your proposals, you're losing money. Charge for debris disposal. Mailing invoices. You save the pennies, the dollars will follow. I calculated a stamp, an envelope, and a piece of paper is costing 80 cents to mail something in the mail to a customer, whether it be an estimate or invoice. On top of that, the time it takes for someone to print that invoice out and to stuff that invoice into an envelope and take it to the post office. Email, email, email. It's going to save you a lot of money. All right. The mailing of things adds up. Try to not do so much of that if you can. And then one of the other things too is somebody mentioned hiring practices, right? Are you wasting your time on the wrong people with your hiring? And the same thing goes for subcontractors. All right. Are you hiring? Actually, Jeff, this was one of your ideas. But hiring and not hiring the right person takes a lot of time, energy, and cost into your business. So as the saying goes, you may have heard this, but hire slow, fire fast. Okay, hire slow, fire fast.
The same goes if you use subcontractors. Make sure you are properly vetting them. Not just getting on the internet trying to find somebody in the area, looking at, you know, how many 5-star reviews they have, and then calling them up and sending them out. I operate all over the state of Indiana, and when I'm bringing a new subcontractor on board, I will physically go to their site to meet them. I want to see their equipment. I want to see what their employees look like. Are they well dressed? Or do they represent their company well? And I want to see if they take care of their equipment. And it does take a lot of time, but it saves me 10 times the headache down the road. And I have hired the wrong subcontractors before, and it has really given me and my business a black eye. So I highly recommend, if you use subcontractors, that you spend the time to vet them correctly.
This is our friend Luke Trukin with Landscape SEO. Luke gave us 5 ways to eliminate waste in your marketing that he wanted to share with us. The first one was audit and evaluate your current spends. So if you have a marketing company out there that is doing marketing and spends for you, are they bringing the right ROI to your market and for your business, to make sure that your $500 a month or $1,000 a month or whatever you may be spending through your marketing is being spent the most efficiently for you? So that was one area he mentioned. Maximizing current leads. So stop spending money and attracting new clients when you haven't capitalized on the old ones, right? Have you tapped into some past clients that you haven't thought about in 6 months or a year that could be good leads again? Or are you going out and trying to always get new leads? So they always say that if you can cultivate your current clients and try to grab more low-hanging fruit from them, it's much easier to do that than it is to go out and get a new client. So just be thinking about that. Optimize paid advertising campaigns, making sure there's no wastage in your ad budget by spending money on things that are not relevant. So, you know, if you're a landscape design build company, make sure that you're targeting those types of clients that you want. Don't be trying to target every single client of all the services that you offer, but be focusing on advertising your most profitable services. Search engine optimization or SEO. So is there ways to get cheaper clients without spending as much on ads? right? So are you doing blog writing, things like that? That's organic search engine optimization for your websites. And then the last thing Luke provided to us was basically improve your website conversion rates. And that's talking about maximizing your website and landing pages really to have a good conversion rate. So are you having the call to actions and things like that on your website? Luke has been instrumental to our website and our leads that we're getting in through Linnemann Lawn Care and Landscaping. I can testify to his efforts into last summer, July and August. The phone wasn't ringing. He did his magic. I started putting some money towards it for just 3 months, and then immediately after about 6 weeks, we got booked up the rest of the year. So I wanted to throw Luke a quick plug because he does great work. He calls people back, and he's got a great company. Actually, Luke used to own a $3 million landscaping company, and by the age of 22, he sold it and opened up his marketing company. So if you have any interest in SEO or marketing, I can provide Luke's information to you, but landscape SEO, Luke Trukin. Just to kind of go through to wrap up here is if you have any interest in joining any of our peer groups, you can scan that or you go to our website at thegreenexecutive.com. Happy to discuss our peer group coaching. And also, last but not least, the 1% challenge. If you're struggling to make profit a habit in your business, go to this website. It's created specifically for you if you're struggling. It's the 1% challenge. And I can guarantee you that if you follow the 5 or 6 steps on our website, that you will at least run a 1% profitable company in your business and be successful. I'm going to leave this here with opening it up to any questions. Jeff and I will be standing by here for just a few more quick minutes, but feel free to unmute yourselves, ask any questions, and we're happy to answer them for you.
Thank you for joining us.